You know what makes me angry? Really angry. The fact that the world seems to have already forgotten October 7th. We said we'd never forget 9/11. Remember that? Did we forget how we felt when Osama bin Laden, a Sunni Muslim extremist, who founded Al-Qaeda, a militant Islamist organization, believed that the United States and its allies were enemies of Islam and that attacking them was a form of jihad according to his extremist ideology? The towers fell, 3,000 innocent Americans murdered in one morning, and for years we stood united in grief, in rage, in resolve. We said never again. As the Palestinians were praising Osama bin Laden.
Baby, you have to listen to me carefully. I'm on a plane that's been hijacked. I'm on the plane. I'm calling from the plane. I want to tell you I love you.
A plane crashed into Alpha 4.
Looks like it went in the Pentagon.
Atmosphere, the V sign for victory being displayed in East Jerusalem today among jubilant Palestinians that the United States had been subject to this attack. What are we to make of that, Jennifer? Are we to, Yasser Arafat may issue this condemnation. Look at this. We're seeing people applauding, clapping, smiling, happy to know that thousands of Americans have died in this sneak attack. And there you see a V for victory sign.
The United States blamed by some Palestinians for its ongoing support, as it is seen, of Israel in this conflict, in this Middle Eastern conflict. However, while some Palestinians were taking to the streets in apparent celebration, one youth was quoted as saying, as he received sweets handed around in celebration, "This is a sweet from Osama bin Laden," he said.
The West Bank. These are Palestinian celebrations in the wake of Tuesday's terror attacks in the United States. Apparently, Palestinians took to the street chanting, "God is great." People were throwing candy, distributing candy to passers-by. The U.S. government obviously has become increasingly unpopular, particularly in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, because Palestinians feel that the U.S. government has sided with Israel. One man, Nawal Abdel Fattah, wearing a long black dress, threw sweets in the air saying, actually that's a woman, pardon me, saying she was happy because, quote, "America is the head of the snake. America always stands by Israel in its war against us."
But October 7th, 2023, that was Israel's 9/11. And the world moved on in weeks. Where's the outrage now? Where are the candlelight vigils? The flags at half-mast? The unity? Because I watched as terrorists stormed into homes, slaughtered families, burned people alive, raped women, and dragged children out of their beds. And within days, somehow, the narrative flipped. Suddenly, the victims became the villains. Suddenly, context became more important than humanity. Let's get one thing straight. October 7th wasn't about politics. It wasn't about land, or settlements, or ceasefires. It was about evil. Pure, unfiltered evil. And what makes me furious is seeing people minimize it, justify it, or worse, celebrate it. Imagine if, after 9/11, people marched in the streets praising Al-Qaeda. Imagine if college students called it resistance. That's what's happening right now. Israel buried its sons and daughters. Families are still waiting for hostages to come home, and the world scrolls past it like it's yesterday's news. You don't have to agree with every move a government makes. But if your heart doesn't break for what happened on October 7th, if you can't say, that was wrong without adding a but, then something inside you is broken. Because when terror wins sympathy, when murder is excused, when evil becomes complicated, that's when humanity loses. So no, I haven't forgotten October 7th, and I won't. Because if we forget, it'll happen again. To someone else's people, in someone else's city, under the same silence of a world that just doesn't care anymore. Never forget. Not September 11th, not October 7th. because both were the same message. Evil doesn't sleep. It waits for us to stop paying attention. After years of international pressure and negotiations, Israel withdrew completely from Gaza in 2005. They pulled out all troops, dismantled every settlement, and even forced Israeli citizens living there to leave. The idea was to give Palestinians a chance to govern themselves and prove that peace was possible. But what happened next shocked many. In 2006, the Palestinian people held elections, and Hamas, a U.S. and EU designated terrorist organization that openly calls for Israel's destruction, won the majority of seats. By 2007, Hamas violently took full control of Gaza, pushing out the Palestinian Authority, Fatah, through a bloody civil war. Since then, Hamas has ruled Gaza without any further elections, turning the territory into an armed fortress and launching thousands of rockets into Israel over the years. So yes, Israel left Gaza, and in return, Hamas took over. They've used billions in aid not to build schools or hospitals, but tunnels and weapons. They've used their own people as human shields while blaming Israel for the suffering they cause. That's why so many Israelis and Jews see October 7th not as an isolated event, but the horrifying climax of a warning they've been shouting for years. You can't make peace with those who want you dead.
Most Palestinians support Hamas.
Yes, of course, the majority.
Have you seen the videos that Hamas filmed themselves and posted from October 7th?
Yes.
Videos where they put babies in ovens.
Really satisfied. Now you're gonna look at me as a psycho, but I was really satisfied from what I saw. Soldiers.
I've seen the videos Hamas filmed themselves on their GoPros and posted, and they murdered a lot of innocent people that day. And they did put babies in ovens. I've seen their own pictures that they posted. They weren't trying to hide it.
None of them are an innocent civilian, even the youngest one.
Let's be clear. October 7th was not an act of war. It was an act of terror. It wasn't soldiers facing soldiers. It was terrorists targeting civilians, mothers, fathers, children, simply because they were Jewish. Islam doesn't fight soldiers. They kill and take innocent people while sleeping in their beds or working at the Trade Center in New York City. October 7th happened at 6 a.m. Most were sleeping. Israel was facing cowardly Islam extremists who can't stand and fight. Americans think Israel has always needed America to survive. Listen to the facts.
In 1967, Syria started a process that would stir up Middle East tensions and unite the Arab states in a war against their hated neighbor, Israel. But they underestimated the military strength and cunning of the tiny state. And after 6 days of fierce fighting, Israel had destroyed 3 Arab armies and shown that it was a force to be reckoned with.
Early years, 1948 to 1950s. After Israel declared independence in 1948, it was immediately attacked by 5 Arab nations. The U.S. recognized Israel politically, but gave almost no military aid. Israel survived using weapons from Czechoslovakia through a secret deal backed by the Soviet Union, ironically, and Jewish volunteers from around the world helped defend the new state. Immigrants from Europe and the Middle East, Holocaust survivors, Jewish refugees, flooded in. They built farms, defended borders, and worked day and night to make the desert bloom. 1950s to 60s, France became Israel's main ally, supplying aircraft, tanks, and nuclear technology. The Israeli Air Force that won the 1967 Six-Day War was mostly French-built Mirage jets. Israelis also built up their own defense industries, like Israel Military Industries and Rafael, learning to make their own weapons and innovate out of necessity. After 1967, only after the Six-Day War did America start to see Israel as a strategic ally in the Cold War, because Israel had proven it could defeat Soviet-backed Arab armies. By the 1973 Yom Kippur War, the U.S. began sending serious aid, and from there, the relationship deepened into what it is today. So in short, Israel stood on its own feet for nearly 20 years, fighting for survival with grit, innovation, and faith, long before America ever sent weapons or money. In my next episode, we will talk about, are Christians next for Islam terrorists? Let's take a glimpse. In northern Mozambique, the branch Islamic State Mozambique Province, ISMP, has been reported to kill and behead Christians, burn churches and homes. A report states that from January to June 2024, ISIS-linked groups killed about 698 Christians in 4 African countries. The faces of the victims may be different, the borders may change, but the enemy of life, the spirit behind both attacks, it's the same. Hatred dressed up as faith, violence wrapped in ideology, and silence. Silence from a world that should have known better. So I'll say it again. Never forget 9/11. Never forget October 7th. Because remembering isn't just honoring the dead, it's a warning to the living. Please like and subscribe. It helps me continue to get God's word out. Thank you for watching. Until next time.